Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Taking a little bit of a break from Skyrim this week, just because we're at the point with all of the characters that we're playing right now that progression is a little bit slower. I need a little bit more time to get to the next phase of each character, and because of that there's a little less to show this week. But yeah, I figured this would be a good time to switch back to Diablo for a week or so. Just because this current season 4 is about to end, I think in a week or so. So yeah, I just wanted to go through all the different characters that I played and talk through how the build works, maybe see about applying some of these concepts to Skyrim builds at some point. But yeah, I'm kind of excited just to go through each one of these and talk a little bit through what makes each build so strong, what makes them tick. And like I said, doing that might give us ideas for some Skyrim builds and maybe even some concepts that we can apply to current builds in process, the mage and the warrior in particular. Okay, so let's see. Carthal is the druid. This is the sort of quote-unquote main character that I played. He is the most advanced character so far in terms of pit leveling, so let's start with him. This is a pulverize build. I used a Stormcall build to level up, and then once I got to level 50 I switched over to pulverize. Pulverize is great for leveling and speed farming, but not so great in terms of pit pushes. That being said, I have pushed the pit up to 98, I believe. And let me back up here. So, okay, so this is a max roll guide pulverize build. It started off that way. And there were kind of like a lot of things that you had to do, a lot of parameters that you had to fulfill in order to get the top end level of the damage from this pulverized build on max roll. So you'd have to cast a bunch of hey, hello Roxy, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. So yeah, there's a lot of parameters that you had to fulfill in order to get your top end damage up to a point where it was worth it. Then I went for Moxie, who was a content creator on YouTube, and he had his own kind of version of the pulverized build, where he took some of that top end power and he distributed it a little bit lower and removed the parameters that you needed, so you could just spam pulverize whenever you want. And this was a lot more fun for me to play, even though, you know, the top end bossing and stuff was a little bit tougher. But I think what we're gonna do here, I can go through the equipment. I've masterworked some of this stuff up pretty high, but it's not all complete. I could get a lot more power by masterworking some of this stuff up. And masterworking is like tempering. Well, tempering's a different thing in this game, but it's like taking in Skyrim, taking your equipment to the workbench or the grinding wheel, and improving your weapons, right, with a smithing skill. It just makes it stronger. But these materials that you need get harder and harder to accumulate in the amounts that you need in order to get a level up each time. So yeah, that's kind of what these pit pushes are all about. You earn the materials that you need to masterwork or improve your gear through doing higher and higher level pits. Now, I've been able to comfortably clear tier level 80 and a little bit above that, so let's just go there to see. I'm getting, oh yeah, all kinds of political campaign calls this time of year. Completed part 1 of my horror thriller mystery D&D session. Ooh, nice. How'd that go? Yeah, so let's just do a level 80. This is not really a push, but it should be a little bit challenging. I just want to kind of show how the build works a little bit. This one's very simple. Basically, we're just going to be spamming pulverize until we run out of spirit. And we're going to be hitting for a lot of damage here. If I can get overpower and crit to... Oh, geez. Really? So I did a level 98 clear last night, and I did not die immediately like this. I'm not even sure what hit me, but I got one shot by something. So yeah, there we go. We got the overpowers, and we got the crits hitting at the same time, and then we can get 3 to 4 million damage each time. The problem is when you run out of spirit with this build, you need to switch out to something other than werebear form in order to gain more spirit. And in werebear form, I have almost right up to the armor cap here. I think the armor cap's somewhere around 9,700. But outside of werebear form, we are like half of what the armor cap is. And in order to gain any kind of spirit back, I need to exit out of werebear form, so that makes me extremely vulnerable to high-level enemies. Now, as I attack, I'm working up this fortify damage. Which gives me more max health, which also increases my overpowered damage. So this is kind of a momentum-based build. As you can see, those numbers are getting higher and higher. And what I did right there is I popped my ultimate to stun everyone. Sort of, it's the ultimate called Petrify. And it stuns everybody on the screen for a few seconds, and while everybody is stunned, they take much more damage. Problem is, the ultimate does take a while to come off of cooldown. So that's kind of the... Well, I got a few different tricks to increase my damage. But that's the main one. Okay, and I have another tactic here that I've been using to try to keep myself safe while I'm also generating more spirit to cast more pulverize. And that is that I use my basic attack, which switches me into werewolf form, which I do have a lot of movement speed in werewolf form. I just don't have much armor. But like right after I switch to werewolf form, I'll actually do a dash, which makes me invulnerable with the metamorphosis aspect. It also changes my shape. And then immediately after I come out of the dash, I'll do another pulverize. So I'll use the spirit that I gained from the basic attack in werewolf form. I'll use the invulnerable dash to cancel out of that sort of vulnerable state. And then right back into werebear form to get my armor level and my fortification up again. And start dealing some damage with fortify once I got my spirit up. Now, as long as I'm killing enemies with pulverize, I'm getting spirit back for each enemy that I kill. Which is great if I'm killing enemies, but for super high level enemies like this, let's see if I can... Yeah, these are 179, level 179 enemies. So they have a ton of health, they do a ton of damage, and they take a long time to kill if you're not doing your peak level damage here. Yeah, almost hit 10 million damage. So this build is viable at very high levels, but the thing with the pit is you have to play well. You can't just rely on your build and your level to just mash through stuff. There is some content in this game, some end level content that I can just kind of brainlessly go through, like tier 100 nightmare dungeons are pretty trivial with this build. Hell tides, even if I boost them up with the profane mine cages, those are pretty easy. And even mid-tier pits are pretty easy to deal with. It's the high level pits where the enemy level goes up kind of indefinitely, where I need to be careful and play well. So I did die the one time, and I will take hey, Silent Echo, how you doing, buddy? Glad to see ya. So yeah, I did die once at the very beginning of this pit run, which will incur me a I think it was a 30-second penalty, and you get rewards at the end of a pit clear based on your clear time. So the faster you can get through this, the more of that high-level crafting material you're going to get to improve your gear. So I will incur a penalty for that. I have been able to fairly... Yeah, that was a 16 million shot there. The corner, gotta try my best to get out of there. So yeah, I'm doing a ton of damage here, but with this high level enemy, it takes some finagling. Try to find the purple guy out here. Where is he? Did a 13 million there. And you can see as long as I'm killing mobs, I'm regaining that spirit, which is important. The bosses become a little more difficult. You have to kind of employ some tricky tactics in order to keep your spirit levels up. But as long as you got lower level enemies to kill, resource management is not a big deal. So that makes this build a little better for leveling and speed farming, because you typically wanting to go through and kill lower level enemies instead of, you know, trying to chip away at higher level enemies. There we go. Now we opened up the boss portal. But I do have ways of increasing spirit, and we'll do that here. So now I'm gonna typically go ahead and drain all my spirit here. Now, this is what I'm gonna do. Oh crap, these blood blisters here are gonna kill me. So, when I do my basic attack, he shifts into werewolf form, which is nice for like these bullet hell bosses, because the werewolf has vastly increased movement speed. But he's also very much vulnerable because his armor level is much lower in werewolf form. So what I'm doing here is I'm hitting with a basic attack, which shifts me into werewolf form, and then I will immediately do a metamorphosis dash. Ah, crap. Which is invulnerable, and also shifts my form. So I'll get damage bonuses for that. And then immediately when I come out of the dash, I'll do the pulverize to get back into werebear form in order to increase my defenses. And there we go. That's tier 80 cleared. Fairly comfortable. I did have that one death at the very beginning where I kind of got spawn camped by the enemies. So that wasn't too bad. I did get a fair amount of neath iron for that one, which is the highest tier crafting material that we have for improving our gear. Hey, you got a puppy, a blue tick hound. That's awesome. Are you using it for... That's typically like a hunting dog, right? Or are you just getting it for a pet? Or are you getting it from hunting? Gonna train it up? Just love on it. That's awesome. Dogs are awesome. Humans don't deserve dogs. That's how I feel about it. That's how awesome they are. Okay, so yeah, pretty potent build, even though we are sacrificing our top end damage. So a lot of the pulverized build montages that you see on YouTube, They use, what is it called? There's a skill in the skill tree where if you cast a whole bunch of different skills all at once, within like 5 seconds of casting a companion skill, you get like a certain percentage boost to your damage on your next core skill. So what a lot of builds on YouTube will do to get that super high one-hit damage, that's where you see like the one-hit pulverized kills for like a lot of these end game bosses and stuff. That is only available within the cooldown of all these companion skills together. So that damage, you're only getting it once per your longest companion cooldown. So that can be upwards of 10, 12 seconds. So you're only getting that damage every 10 or 12 seconds, which is actually forever. In this game, if you're trying to survive for 10 or 12 seconds until you can dish out more damage, that's a tough pill to swallow. So what this build does is it takes some of that top end damage away and kind of pushes it down into your more mid-tier damage and keeps that at a high level, and also allows you to just spam pulverize like I was doing before. As long as you're killing enemies, it's all good. So now, let's see here. Let's repair our gear. I think it's in pretty good shape right now. This isn't necessary, but I like to stay on top of it. And let's see. It's this guy that I'm doing next. I need another 111 neath iron. I got 39 from that one. I had more earlier, but I've been using the neath iron on... Oh, shoot. I forgot to set a timer on this. How long have I been going now? 23 minutes. So let's give this build another 15 minutes. I want to give each build 30 minutes because I got a lot of builds to go through here. But yeah, I've been playing lower level builds and leveling, so I've been trying to masterwork their gear up as well. And there is a mechanic in this game that lets you break down higher level crafting materials into lower level crafting materials, and so I blew through a lot of my neath iron on my lower level characters. But this guy's doing pretty well. Tier 80 is respectable. It was theorized by the guy who I modeled this build after that these guys could do low 100s without too much issue once you've got everything masterworked up. I've only been able to push to 98. I haven't been able to get past that, but I've also felt like, oh, you know what? I could pop a potion here and that would help. Armor and thorns, that would help. What I really want is fortitude. Ooh, resourcefulness might help as well. Yeah, resourcefulness or fortitude. Fortitude increases max life, which helps with survivability, but it also increases your top end overpower. Yeah, all of the above. I love my dogs, man. Glad I got her. I'm sorry. Let me see here. Roxy is her name? Oh, that's weird. Is Roxy in the chat right now? Your dog is in the chat? That's amazing. Cool name, though. I like the name. Let's see. I think resourcefulness. The main problem I'm having really isn't survivability at this point. 20% is nothing to sneeze at. Also, top end overpower damage is not really a problem either. Resource generation is, though. So let's take a potion of resourcefulness and then we'll try this tier 98. I have been able to clear 98. I just have not been able to do it in time. Yeah, my current dog, it was a rescue. So it's a mixed breed. She's a Beagle Dachshund mix. She's just the cutest damn thing in the world. She does have some hunting chops on her. 2 different hunting breeds. So we'll chase rabbits around like a little bit, or we used to when she was younger. She's more of a couch potato these days, which is fine. She's still real cute and she loves to cuddle. Yeah, so before we were fighting level 179 enemies, now we're fighting level 197 enemies. So far, so good. The resource potion really helps. But yeah, when she was younger, she's 14 now, so she's She's getting up there. She's a little old lady, but she still likes to play and cuddle. She's real cute. But yeah, when she was younger, when we used to go on longer walks and stuff, we would see a rabbit like running around, or I would see a rabbit running around in the bushes, and she would start like pointing at where the rabbit was and where the rabbit was going, and I could see the rabbit like running from bush to bush out in the distance, but she couldn't, so she was using just her nose, and she was going from every bush to every other bush that rabbit was hiding in, just like a few bushes behind. So it's like impressive that they can smell that. Pop the ultimate here. We'll get some crowd control and boost our damage a little bit. Try to stay out of the poison, because at level 197, that's doing a ton of damage. It's not insignificant. Yeah, so high level pit pushes in this game, they become almost like bullet hell shoot 'em ups. It doesn't matter like how strong, how much armor you have, how much max health you have. You can't just stand there and tank shots. You have to move around. You have to avoid damage when you can, especially with elites and bosses. So mobility is really key, and that is why I'm using a werewolf basic skill instead of a, well, for two reasons. Instead of staying in werebear form, well, I'll have more armor and better defense. I have a basic skill that shifts me into werewolf form. I have, like I mentioned, a lot more mobility in werewolf form, but I also get a damage bonus if I shift my shape when I attack. And if you're staying in werebear form all the time, you're not shifting attack. Ooh, 21 million damage on that overpower there. Okay, we're out of spirit. We can regenerate some of that with a petrify here. There we go, all good. So werewolf for traveling, bear for combat. Yeah, you could do it that way. Actually, especially in these pit pushes. Welcome, Haster, by the way. Sorry, it's really hard for me to keep my eye on chat with this game, especially at high levels, because you just have a lot less downtime where you can look away from the screen. As you can see, this gets pretty nutty here. Yeah, reducing the amount of time between enemy mobs is important for pit pushing, especially if you're trying to get the highest clear times possible and get the highest amount of crafting material possible. But not just for travel, but also evasiveness. As you can see, I'm taking a lot of damage, even in werebear form, where I'm supposed to be very tanky. Each one of those fireballs is taking like half my life. So being able to avoid that stuff, it gets harder and harder to avoid, especially with like boss characters. So the more movement speed that you can have, especially in those encounters, the better off you'll be. So I might strategically switch to werewolf form in order to deal with that. So yeah, here's werewolf form, and not a ton faster, but it is significantly faster. Here we go. Loving Fallout London? Even better than Fallout? Nice. Yeah, man, that I kind of feel bad for that team with the complete crap show that that Fallout Next Gen Remaster was when it released, and kind of still is, honestly. They were running into their own release window. Like that next gen upgrade that Bethesda put out It was in their same release window as the Fallout London release window. Oh god. So they delayed their own release in order to put their release on the next gen version update, because there were some significant upgrades that were coming with that release for the engine. They didn't count on it being so buggy. In hindsight, you know, Bethesda releases, well, especially for that release, you had to know that was going to be buggy. So they're probably kicking themselves for, you know, upgrading at that point. My theory on it is that Bethesda probably has an A team, you know, of all their best, most tenured engineers that are working on, they're probably split a little bit between the Starfield expansion and the Elder Scrolls 6 production, early production. To get things spun up there, engine level stuff needs veteran senior engineers to work on that stuff. And then that leaves like the C and D tier teams, the interns, the new guys, things like that, to work on the Fallout next gen upgrade. So with that in mind, I feel like it was probably fairly obvious that that release was not going to be the most clean. But they'll fix it eventually. It's just they're taking their sweet time doing it. But yeah, I mean, they made the right call giving up on the next gen upgrade. I think it's probably going to be a while for them to fix it, because not only is it probably like the C or D team, it's probably also just a very small team as well. So it's going to take them a little while, I think. Oh, we got these fortified enemies here. Yeah, doing millions of damage per bash here, sometimes tens of millions of damage. It's just these enemies are so tanky. Gonna regret saying this though, but this run is going really well so far. Way ahead of schedule. They do give you a time limit on these. The faster you get through this, the more bonus crafting material you're gonna get for clearing it. But you don't get any bonus material if you don't clear it in time, even if you do clear it, and you also don't get to unlock the next level of the next tier if you don't clear it in time. We'll see how the boss fight goes. Like I said, I have been able to clear this pit tier before. I just haven't been able to do it in time. I've also been swapping characters a lot, so I haven't really been able to stick to a character long enough to actually really get good, like real good at it. I did burn a little midnight oil playing this game last night with this character just to see where I was at with these pit clears. So I did come up with some tactics on how to deal with some of this stuff without having to completely reconfigure my build for a more boss run style build. Now we're entering this boss fight without the Petrify ultimate, but that's okay. We'll get there. Sea Hag, huh? This guy, this enemy, not really a guy, can be tough. A lot of traps and things to avoid. It looks like she's also got Shadow Elias helping her out. So yeah, we need to be on our toes here. Ugh. All right, we got some low-level mobs that can feed our spirit resource. That's good. I am going to spend all my spirit until I can unlock Petrify. There we go. Where's she going with this? Here we go. I'm pretty sure that this boss can one-shot me if I get stuck in one of these puddles and she does the splash. So I gotta be very careful, play very defensive. Yeah, one of those little fire bolts hit me and it took a quarter of my life. Yeah, if I got caught in that splash, I would have been dead for sure. One and done. Oh, got paralyzed there. That was almost certainly death, but I do have the metamorphosis boots. The aspect on that. Ooh, I dodged the splash. If I hadn't dodged that, I might have been dead. Oh, these wretches are tough, man. I am not doing enough damage. I'm gonna run out of time. I only have 2.5 minutes left. Ooh. Okay. So, lose or win, this will be the last fight with this character. We got to move on to the other ones and show off the other guys I've been building. Ooh, okay. No. All right. Petrify, please. My alarm is going off at me now. It's so distracting. So much going on here. Oh, it's coming down to the wire. Get stuck. That metamorphosis is a lifesaver. 3 seconds, 2 seconds on the Petrify. That will give me some spirit back. There we go. And I stunned her. This is awesome. Here comes Elias. Let's live to fight it. Oh, no, I told you the splash was a one-shot. Oh, it was going to be close. It was going to be close. Damn. There's no way I can... See, you don't get to re-pick up the boss fight where you left off either. You have to completely start over, and I only have 10 seconds left now. So this one's a wash. Man, that is... this is the closest I've ever gotten on this one boss. That's crazy. I should have just quit out. But I wanted to show you the mechanics of how this worked and how just absolutely punishing these high-level pit pushes are. But it's possible, right? I feel like if I were just able to tighten some things up gameplay-wise, just put out a little more damage output, avoid a little bit more damage, I would have it. So I don't think it's really so much a build problem right now, especially if I can get my master working up by farming some more tier 80 dungeon clears. Probably be fine. So I think I can fix this with gameplay. I don't think I have to fix this and go through and restructure my build at all. I really want to get to where I can clear tier 100 pit runs. But yeah, it's tough. It's totally doable though. I'm sure it's totally doable. Just play a little more defensively, know what options you have available for when you run out of spirit. See, I took one regular attack from her in werewolf form. I didn't time that quite right. And I almost died with one hit. It wasn't even a big splash either. Man, I can't believe how close I came just to die to a splash at the end. For whatever reason, I didn't see the puddle that I was standing on. I thought I was safe behind that pillar, and then she did the big splash, and I just died immediately. Bummer, man. Woohoo! Okay, she got me with the splash there. Able to absorb some of it at least. I will get a clear chest, I think, on this that has some legendaries in it, maybe some stuff with some greater affixes on it, but I just want to see just how easily I could have done this. Ooh, that hurt. Elias over there shooting me with fireballs. It's funny as humans, like, even if it's just a digital sprite, a completely non-human digital sprite. Yeah, so I did get some, you know, some loot out of it. If they kill you, is this on mythic difficulty? Yeah, this is world tier 4, which is Torment, I believe. It's the highest difficulty level on there. Yeah, world tier 4 over here. That's the highest it goes right now. I don't know if they'll add a world tier 5. They might at some point. But Haster, with these, I'm doing what's called the pit runs. This is like super high level end game stuff. Those were level 197 characters, and we get capped out at level 100. The rest of the world, as you can see up here, is level 100. So if I just go out in the open world and I just try to kill some monsters, they're gonna cap out at 100. The monsters in this pit, they call it the Artificer's Pit. They scale all the way up to level 200. So I'm very close to the enemy cap on that one. They're very tough. They have a ton of health. So this is super high level end game stuff that we're looking at here. So this is the strongest, currently the strongest one. I'm not saying this is the one with the most potential. I feel like I have other builds that have much higher potential than this one. But this is the one that I kind of started the season with, and he's kind of evolved over time to the form that he's currently in now. And he looks pretty damn cool, too. He's a beefy boy. He's definitely not a vegetarian druid. He's give me all the steak druid, for sure. Okay. So let's take a look at some other characters here. So I'm thinking, oh geez, do they have like a ground pound? Skyrim, this is a much different sort of, we can do a werebear build in Skyrim, right? But not the Skyrim with the ground pound. The ground pound thing, the pulverize where he smashes the ground, creates tremors. It's not really something that exists in Skyrim. We can do werebear. Things like the Lord Stone we could do, but you'd have to do it in human form. I don't think that's available in werebear form. But I think we could proc the Lord Stone, which gives you the rumble, more like an earthquake rumble, and then you can get into werebear form, and then you can run around and slash people in werebear form while the earthquake is going. All right, let me catch up on chat here. Yeah, it's coded into their DNA to chase. Let's see. Greetings to Haster. Thanks for joining us, buddy. They can smell candy through the wrapper. They can smell all kinds of things. It's crazy. Talking about dogs, by the way, not druids. I'm sure druids can smell some stuff too. So, werewolf for traveling, bear for combat. No problems. Just stay alive if you can. There we go. By the way, I downloaded Fallout London, played it a bit. Quite decent so far. A crash here and there. Yeah, you're going to have stability issues and bugs with that for sure. It's the same as like Beyond Skyrim and Enderall. They'll polish it up. They know what they're doing. Nothing major. And the story is quite intriguing from the get-go. At least it is for me. Yeah, it might be... I don't know. I kind of burn out on the whole Fallout thing, and I got enough games I'm playing right now. I might get to it a little later. But I'm looking forward to seeing Gopher play it. For sure. Let's see. Someone made a vampire game using Skyrim's engine. Did they? That sounds kind of cool. I have not heard about that yet. Do you... VTM mod? Oh, it's a work in progress. Haster knows about it. If you want to play Fallout London, at least for now, you have to either downgrade or make a new install. Yeah, we talked about how those release windows clashed between Fallout London and the next gen update. Let us know how White Wolf, the VTM, won't hunt him down. Berserk anime is sick as heck. I haven't seen Berserk yet, but people really love Berserk. It's like their favorite thing ever. Hey, there's James Ansel. Welcome, buddy. Sorry for the late response. Those high level pit pushes, they do take a lot of focus. It's almost like an arcade shoot 'em up where it's like you have to have 100% concentration all the time. What difficulty am I on? World Tier 4. That was a pit tier 98. I think I can clear 100 with that character. I think I can. It might take some more master working to get there a little more comfortably, but I think I can do it. And there's the Panic Monk. Welcome, buddy. Thanks for the link, Haster. Good looking out. This is just thick difficulty, not mythic difficulty. Thicker than a Snicker. You got it. Or thick if you want to be fancy. The QUE. I like the QUE. You're gonna play Shadow of the Erdtree eventually. I'm still worn out from clearing Elden Ring, the main game. Shadow of the Erdtree does look good though. At some point, maybe this year, maybe not. I'm gonna hit the need to want to play it is gonna hit me. I just don't know when. I'm actually getting that Skyrim itch again. I've been diving back into Starfield a little bit, working on that build, and then of course we've had the mage and the warrior over in Skyrim. I've been playing a lot of Diablo 4, trying to get everything I can out of season 4 because they are very generous with the rewards, as I will talk about when I go into this build. And then I've been playing a Japanese shoot-'em-up game called Mushihime-sama. I'm trying to work on a 1 credit clear of that. And that's been a little bit tough. And then just working a lot. Just haven't had a lot of mental cycles left for gaming after that. So a lot on my plate. And I also did recently get RoboCop Rogue City. I'm really looking forward to playing that. I just need to install it and play through it. Yeah, I have to take breaks from Elden Ring myself. To me, it simulates real fighting. So stressful. Yeah, I mean the stakes are there, right? It's like each one of those. Rogue looks like Shinobi. Yeah, kinda. That's kind of how I styled them. Okay, so this is a rapid fire rogue. It's not the same as my Shadow imbuement rapid fire rogue, which I'll get into after this. This is a top tier Smuggler's Kiss rapid fire rogue. The key to this one, well, there are a few keys to this one. This one uses this new unique called Scoundrel's Kiss. Well, it's not new anymore. I think it was introduced either in Season 2 or Season 3. But basically what this does is it takes your rapid fire, which is usually like a machine gun burst fire shot for your bow or your crossbow, and it turns it into kind of like a little rapid fire grenade launcher. So instead of like shooting a barrage of arrows, it will shoot a stream of like these grenades. Coupled this with cold imbuement, so I get like a lot of splash damage with the frost element, which slows down enemies. A lot of crowd control. It uses Heartseeker, which just sends out like a probing arrow that bounces off of targets with a sort of high percentage of being able to crowd control an enemy. Crowd controlled enemies do take increased damage. So if I can I use this the basic attack, this Heartseeker basic attack, is sort of like a jab, a probing jab, and when the jab does find the chin, that leaves an opening for like the power cross or the overhand right of the rapid fire, right? So in order to enable this, I'm also using combo points. So for every 3 basic attacks that you do with the combo point passive and active, it will strengthen your next core attack by a certain amount. For what it does for rapid fire is it adds like 5 or 6 grenades to your rapid fire, or arrows depending on how you're playing. So that with the crowd control, you get crowd control from your ice enchantment or your ice imbuement. Crowd control from your basic attack. You get buffed damage from your rapid fire whenever you use your Heartseeker. This build is very, very strong. You also get splash damage from the cold imbuement. And because of the tempering system that is new to this season, you also do get, what is it? What am I saying here? Oh, you get, oh wow, I have not tempered this yet. What the hell am I doing? This guy's busted as hell. Okay. Where was I? I totally lost my train of thought. God damn it. Yeah, it's gone. This also uses Edge-Master, which the more focus that you have, the more damage that you do. So with the combo points, I'm going to be doing basic attacks all the time, which recharges my focus, my resource, and then that's going to always be topped off, so I'm always going to get this full 30% multiplicative damage boost to it. I got to figure out what the hell I'm doing here with these rapid primal gauntlets. What is this conflicting with here? Oh, the sword. Okay, so the sword has to be something else. We got to put something else on that sword. I don't know what else to put on that sword, but it's anything other than the rapid aspect.
Well, let's have a look.
Could just do accelerating. Okay. That should be fixed. Indeed it is. Okay. All right, so this one also features the Shako. I don't know why they call it a Shako, right? All right, let me see. Catch up here. Rogue looks like a shinobi. Karn, did you watch the opening ceremony of the Paris Olympic? I found very best the bit Celine Dion and the medal start. I did watch some of it. I didn't watch all of it. It was going on for quite a while. The metal stuff was pretty cool. I liked the pyrotechnics that they used, and a lot of the smoke effects I thought were really, really cool. A lot of the stuff that they did with the water, with the dancers splashing around in the water was also really cool. Yeah, it was kind of awesome. I kind of thought that I preferred the drone show from the Korean Summer Olympics in 2020, I think. But this was, I don't think it was any less impressive. It was just a completely different apples and oranges thing. Yeah, some parts of it were good. Some parts of it were, the most annoying part of it to me was, at least for the American broadcast here, some of the commentators on it were just really annoying. I just wish they would stop talking so we could watch the whole thing uninterrupted. But yeah, we just got a bunch of useless commentary on it over the top of the soundtrack that was already there. Oh, was it Japan? I thought it was Korea. I thought it was South Korea. Oh, getting mixed up. Let's see. All right, so yeah, this character, was I doing pit pushes with this character? I'm not sure. But I also need to temper this. Okay, so this will give me a chance to show off what the tempering does. So, with the gloves here, you can see it has 3 different effects on it. 77, plus 77 to dexterity, plus 12% critical strike chance, and plus 32% vulnerable damage. Now, this next, the pants here have an extra 2 effects. We have the little trap there that says lucky hit for a 13% chance to stun for 2 seconds, and a 47% cold resistance. I can... Actually, how's my resistance? Ooh, I need fire resistance. Okay, so let's try to temper some fire resistance into these gloves if we can. So this just gives you a way to sort of, quote-unquote, enchant further your character with different effects. And there are some effects available in this one that aren't available anywhere else. And one of those, oh, that's where I lost my train of thought, was the Cold Imbue lasts for plus 2 casts. And then you can stack that multiple times. So you're basically always imbued. That might be more useful. Okay, so if I can get... So if I can get a fire resistance and cold imbue tempers on these gloves, then we're good. No, I can't get a fire resist. That's too bad. So this guy's in kind of a state of flux right now. What do I need? What do I need? Marksman finesse. Maybe damage to close enemies. I'm not sure what I had on there before. So I must have left this guy in a sort of in-between state because I did get this uber unique helm that I think changed him up a little bit. Let's go for a chance to crowd control here. Chance to stun is great, no problem there. Now we probably need damage to crowd control enemies, damage to close enemies. It's too bad that I can't get an extra imbuement on this slot. So this is a dice roll to see what kind of we'll do damage to crowd controlled enemies. That sounds good. To see what kind of enchantment you get, and then, or see what kind of affix you get, and then you can re-roll a certain amount of times. And then once you re-roll a certain amount of times, you're done. You're stuck with what you have. So this gives you the potential to brick an item that was very powerful before, but also gives you the potential of really unlocking the power of a build. Okay, so I was getting into the Harlequin quest right now. This is sort of informally called the Shako. This was generally thought of as the most powerful item in the game. And I was able to get this through what they call a pity mechanic. So if you get 4 uber uniques in this game, you can you can let's see, temper those down. You can break those down into crafting components called resplendent sparks, and then you can take 4 of those resplendent sparks and craft an uber unique of your choosing. And the Harlequin quest is one of those. So in this season, in season 4, the Iron Wolves, which is like a warrior faction, they let you play the game in order to increase favor. You can do what's called a Hell Tide in this game. You can just grind those and you'll increase your favor with the Iron Wolves. And once you get to some max favor, they will reward you a resplendent spark, which you can then use if you get 4 of those to craft an uber unique. So what I did is I created 4 seasonal characters and I went through that whole thing 4 times to get that resplendent spark 4 times, and I used that to create this. This will greatly strengthen this type of build. Let's see what it does here. Plus 28 to all stats. Plus 1,528 maximum life, 12% resource generation. The big thing here is the 7% cooldown reduction, and then also the sort of main unique effect on this. You get plus 4 ranks to all skills, and then 20% damage reduction, which is great for survivability. And that plus 4 ranks to all skills is really going to help with the rapid fire skill here. We're going to be doing a ton of damage with this rapid fire because we're basically overdrawn on this. We're buffed by plus 7 on this skill, which is way beyond like the highest level you're supposed to get. So that's good. Let's do some pit pushes on this, shall we? I haven't played this guy in a while, but he's pretty good. Well, let's do... Maybe we can do a nightmare dungeon? Nah. Let's go do some pits. Pit pushes. We need Neath Iron more than anything else. That's over here in Saragar. UK was lucky. You had a lot of comedy. Good commentators there. Have you watched any of the events? My wife and I were watching fencing before I started streaming. Impressive stuff. A lot of the events in the Olympics, especially, let's see, I want to do precision. More critical strike chance. Definitely not trying to tier 98 with this guy yet. I'm not master worked up enough. But we'll go to tier 50 right now. I think he can do a tier 50 without too much trouble. Mainly time trials. Yeah, the thing about the Olympics is, in terms of like spectator sports, there's not a whole lot of nuance to it. It's kind of just watching people run as fast as they can or throw something as far as they can. But you're also seeing these superhuman feats being performed on a very regular basis, right? Oh crap, this might have been a bad idea. Okay, so there is a very specific way that defense works with this character. I'm gonna need to get my sea legs back with the rapid fire guy here. You see these purple orbs that are floating around? You have the purple, blue, and then green one that changes color. That's a different mechanic. But the straight up purple ones, those are providing most of my damage reduction. And I gain those by getting critical or lucky hits. So basically, my defense doesn't really come online until I score a few critical or lucky hits. And then those purple orbs will spawn around me, and then I'll be able to tank a few hits. But until that point, I am very, very squishy. Oh, these throat slitters are going to be a problem. They go invisible and they sneak up behind you, and then they just do a ton of one-hit damage to you and poison you. So, this build is very powerful. This is the first pit push I've done with this character. And starting at level 50 and, you know, being okay with it kind of speaks to just how strong this build is. Much more nuanced than the druid build. You have to jump through a few more hoops in order to get your damage completely online. You're much more squishy than the druid is, especially in werebear form. But in terms of just sheer damage output and defense through crowd control and mobility, this guy's extremely strong. A lot of the sort of pro players that play Diablo 4 and do content creation for a living, they will rank this build in S tier. At least they have at some point during the season. I think that has kind of gone down to A tier and then went back up to S tier and then back down to A tier, but it's sort of oscillated between A and S tier. So we should be able to, you know, once I get things masterworked, be able to get tier 100 cleared and beyond without too much issue. As you can tell, though, I'm finagling a little bit more with this build. I'm not just running around pounding the ground like I am with the druid build. This one takes a little more sort of dodging damage, using a lot of different skills in order to enable all of the different powers that I need to enable in order to get, you know, the damage that I need to do. But you can see that pretty much no enemy can stand up to a direct shot from these grenades. So my main issue with this build, the rapid fire build has been my favorite one to play. It's just the most fun to me. It just, the feeling of having a machine gun in Diablo 4 is just really fun for me. And then also being able to play the game like a twin stick shooter. Very action oriented, very skill based in terms of player skill, not so much, you know, character skill. And with the nuance of the combo point system and things like that, sending out that Heart Seeker to jab and send out a stun for crowd control for both defense and enabling your strongest offense. Yeah, these throat slitters are dangerous. Yeah, there's another one. They just pop up behind you and just kill you. So the main issue I have with this build, as opposed to a regular rapid fire build, is just the grenade lobs. They're very powerful, obviously. There's a lot of good splash damage there. It adds a certain amount of nuance. They're a little bit harder to aim, even though they've kind of made it a lot easier, sort of in a mid-season update. It's a lot easier to hit your target with these grenades now than it was, but I like the actual arrows better. I think they're more fun. They're faster. They're more like what you would expect if you say rapid fire build. It's just at this point in the game, with the state of balance where it is right now, this build, the Smuggler's Kiss Cold Imbue build, is a lot stronger than the build that I prefer to play with rapid fire, which is the non-Smuggler's Kiss, the non-grenades, and Shadow Imbuement. Because Shadow Imbuement just explodes all the time, and it's got that impact. It's like, to me, it's like digital bubble wrap, you know? Or it's like for whatever reason, humans love popping bubble wrap. It's just satisfying to see, or just to have all those little compartments that you can just pop in like quick succession. It's the same way with the shadow imbuement, right? You imbue your rapid fire with shadow imbuement, and when you kill an enemy with shadow imbuement, they explode for splash damage. So you get a lot of enemies exploding all over the screen with the shadow imbuement rapid fire build. So I do keep my own rapid fire build ready to go. I'll just take ideas and concepts from the S tier builds, and I'll apply them to my shadow imbuement one. Now this is also a seasonal character. I took that Harlequin's Quest uber unique because I wanted to give it to my shadow imbuement rogue on the Eternal Realm. So I'm kind of like looking forward to the season ending actually, so that I can give my real build the good stuff. Yeah, remember how long it took us to clear that, even the tier 80 boss. This build does an extraordinarily good job of killing bosses. One enemy damage is like top tier for this build, which is cool. Let's see if we can get some Neath Iron on this one. We'll do one more pit push at level 61 to get some of the crafting. Good afternoon to the wind. Welcome, welcome. America hasn't won anything yet, technically. Yeah, we'll get there. I think we got some high-end track and field athletes this time around, especially like sprinters and things like that. Gymnastics we usually do really well in, and I don't think those have started yet, but we'll get there. Don't worry, James. We'll be all right. Oh, you downloaded Fallout London? That's awesome. You gonna play it on stream, The Wind? I wouldn't mind seeing it. Have you played Fallout 4 at all? Or you've been focused on the older Fallout games? I think you would like Fallout 4. Let's see here. Yeah, all right. We'll do one more pit push, and then I'll show off my other character here. Let's see if we can get level 61 to start getting some of this Neath Iron. So this is the highest level crafting material that you can get to improve your gear in this game, is this Neath Iron. And you have to clear pit level 61 or higher in order to get that. So let's see how easy it is to run this with this character. Never played Fallout 4. I think I got it free from GOG, which is where I got the London one. Nice. Yeah, I mean, I understand. There are so many great games to play in so little time. I got so many games on my backlog. It's not enough time to play them. Cheese and rice, really? Wow, guys, I almost died. Like right away there. Man, okay. So just going up 11 levels on the pit tiers can make a huge difference. That's another thing I don't like about this grenade launching thing, is that with enemies who are trying to close the gap, it lobs so it goes up and then comes down. Some of the times it will like just go right over their head, and typically it's got enough splash damage to be able to hit them in the butt when it hits the ground behind them. But that's not always the case. With the non-grenade launcher rapid fire, it fires in a beam in front of you. It doesn't lob. So with encroaching enemies, it just takes them out on their way in. the power of this sort of grenade modifier cannot be denied. I'm just tearing through people here. I kind of want to do a level 98 at some point just to see how, well, maybe not. Took a couple of regular hits there and almost died. The druid would have just tanked those easily. It's one thing just to be able to say with the rogue's increased mobility, you should be able to just to avoid most damage. And that's true sometimes, but there are a lot of enemies that like to teleport or go into stealth mode and become invisible. You can see them if you look really hard, but most of the time you're not going to see them, and they'll get that sneak attack damage on you and almost kill you outright. So high levels of mobility and just evasiveness is only going to take you so far with these high level pushes. Yep, there we go. Yeah, not even going to try the tier 98s. Yeah, once I lost my shadow shield there, umbral whatever. I don't remember. So many names of different things in this game. Hard to remember what they all are actually called. Yeah, once I lose my purple orbs there, I'm just kind of a sitting duck. Okay. I just realized I have to turn off my OBS music too, because Diablo IV has some music going on. And I also have my own soundtrack going on, so I got two different songs playing at the same time. Professional streamer over here. Okay. So after we get done with this clear, if we get done with this clear, I think we will. I want to go to my version of the rapid fire rogue, which is shadow imbuement instead of ice imbuement, and it doesn't use the smuggler's kiss ring to turn it into a grenade launcher. Oh jeez. Hung up on the terrain, gotta love it. BGS fans know what that's all about. Yeah, that guy was sneaking up behind me. We've all played like assassins and stuff in Skyrim, right? Where you get that sneak attack damage with the daggers. It's fun to be the assassin, but then to be the guy who's getting hit by the assassin, it's not as fun. I gotta say. Okay, we're way ahead of schedule here. That's good. I still have 8 minutes and 34 seconds left, and I'm a good 90% of the way through. So the way these pits work is you get a time limit. I think it's like 15 minutes or something like that. And you want to clear the whole thing in 15 minutes. And in order to clear it, you have to kill a certain amount of enemies, and I'm not sure what that number is, but you basically just play and play until you kill a certain amount of enemies, and then that will open up a boss portal, a portal to a boss fight, and then you have to kill that boss, and that boss is usually really amped up in terms of HP and damage dealt. So you really got your work cut out for you. It really behooves you to try to get through these lower level enemies as quickly as possible in order to save as much time as possible. Yeah, there's those assassins again. Jeez, they just snuck right up behind me. Just got through that wall of exploding ice somehow. So yeah, then you have more time to work on this extremely cranked up boss. Yep. I saw him coming up behind me. There's the boss portal. And we got a good 7 minutes left. That's great. And then, based on how much time you had left, you'll get bonus rewards in terms of these high-level crafting materials that you get in order to improve your gear. So really, you want to clear these pit levels as quickly as possible to get the most rewards. Oh no! Are you serious? And then when you die, you take a time penalty, right? So that's the only drawback to dying in this, is you get some durability penalty on your equipment. But then you also, it just tacks on more to your final time in 30-second increments. So the first time I died, that was a 30-second penalty. And then that last time I died, it was a 60-second penalty. Next time I die, it's going to be a 90-second penalty. Yeah, so you can see how when things are going well, it looks easy, but if you mistime one thing, you're pretty much dead. All right, so that gave me a certain amount of neath iron there that we can then go back to town and then have a smith use that neath iron material to upgrade our weapons.
How shall I guide my hammer?
Masterworking. I haven't done any masterworking on any of this yet, so that would make things a lot easier. All right, give me a second here. I just got to turn off this. There we go. Turn off the custom soundtrack. Okay, so that is the current meta, sort of highest tier, strongest rapid fire build that you're gonna see. My own rendition of this is, it's weaker, not a ton weaker, but it is technically weaker and significantly weaker. And that is the Shadow Imbuement Rapid Fire Rogue. Looking cool as hell. So I try to use color schemes with these outfits that kind of match the elemental type that these people are using. So like for the Druid, it's very earth themed with the ground pound. And the werebear, so a lot of fur and a lot of browns. With the Shadow Imbuement Rapid Fire Rogue, we're using a lot of purples because Shadow Imbuement is purple in this game. Frost Imbuement, we're doing blue. And then with Lightning, we're doing light blue with the Sorcerer here. And then with the Barbarian, mostly just white and silver because I thought it looked cool and it went with his light beard. And then the barbarians in this game are from Mount Ararat. They remind me of kind of Nords, where they come from this snowy, mountainous region. So like having white fur and stuff would match the terrain a little bit better. I imagine him using or like killing a polar bear or something like that to get his to get the fur on his armor, because that was what would be inhabiting his hometown area. So yeah, I did put some thought into how these guys look, and I do think they look pretty cool, if I don't say so myself. They did a good job with the armor design in this game. They do have a paid shop. These things do go on sale, but they are very pricey if you want to like pay for cosmetics. They haven't yet implemented a pay to win situation, so that's good. But you get some like really cool looking armors that you can pay for. This is 2,800 platinum, and you do get some platinum just through like seasonal unlocks and things like that, seasonal journeys. But if you wanted 2,800 to buy this outright, this would cost you $25. This armor set would cost you $25 for something that doesn't affect gameplay at all, but looks cool as hell. So if you don't like these aren't even microtransactions, right? These are just macro transactions. Does look like a Japanese Oni. It looks cool as hell. So if you don't mind being a whale and you see something that looks really cool, then, you know, go for it. This is not a paid for. This is just a vanilla look, which still looks really cool. The armors that they give you, there's a lot of different ones. They all look different for each class. And they all look really cool. You can put together something very cool looking without having to spend any kind of extra money at all. But yeah, the paid for cosmetics are pretty steep. Aesthetics is everything. Yeah, it sure is. But you don't have to buy any of that at all. You can do the seasonal stuff for free. You can buy a season pass, which makes progression through the season stuff faster. And then you do get cosmetics that you get to unlock through that. You can, I think it's like a $10 seasonal pass, and that typically lasts like 3 or 4 months. And it just, you know, speeds up your progression through that meter that you fill up in order to get the next unlockable. So you don't have to spend any money on it. You still do get unlockable aesthetics for free if you're willing to put in the work. If you want to unlock it faster, you can spend money on the seasonal pass. Did you buy the Hatred DLC? Not yet, but I will. I'm very much looking forward to it. Microtransaction, I decided to retire from Diablo. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people just they don't have the stomach for microtransactions at all, and I understand why. So a big argument against microtransactions is that it has the potential. I don't think it always does, but it could sway the original design of the game to where they're giving you less up front. They're diminishing the value of the game that you're buying in order to add value later on through microtransactions, right? So the argument there is that you're getting a fundamentally devalued version of the game, so that they can add value to it later to, you know, tack on to the price of it. And I understand it. I don't think that that's always the case, but just the potential that that's there is enough for some people just to opt out of certain games. And is probably the main argument against the Creation Club with Skyrim and Starfield and Fallout and things like that. At least with those games, you get modding communities that do give you that extra content for free if you're willing to put in the work to install the mods and learn how to use them and things like that. I understand it. I don't always buy into that argument. I'm actually not going to argue with you. On a fundamental level, you're right? But for me, some of these extra pieces of these paid DLCs that you buy are worth it. Some of them are very good. And a lot of them, it's very clear that they weren't intended to be in the original game. They're giving you extra. They're giving you more of the game that you already love for, you know, a decent price. Sometimes those prices have been very inflated lately, especially in terms of BGS and Diablo IV here. But there are companies that do it right. There are companies that do it wrong. Diablo IV, it toes the line, right? It's just cosmetics that you're buying. The prices are inflated, but they're putting all of that onus on the people who are willing to pay for it. So the reason why we get these new seasons and everything is the recurring revenue that they're getting from the season passes and the cosmetic purchases. So it's the people who are paying money that are allowing new content to arrive for free for everybody. So from that perspective, I see why they're doing it. I see why the prices are the way they are. It's allowing the biggest fans who have the money and don't mind spending it to get these cosmetics to make sure that the game survives and that you get new content perpetually. I get it. The other thing that you could do is the MMO, the premium MMO thing, where you pay for the game up front and then you got to pay a monthly subscription to the game, 15, 20 bucks a month, however much it is now. It's been a long time since I've done one of those. And that's a buy-in for, oh, look at the tracks in the mud. That's cool. That's not something that I see when I'm playing this on PS5. That's really awesome. Yeah, so that's a barrier to entry that a lot of people just can't do based on their finances. So at least this, you buy the game and then you get to play it for free forever. Or not for free, for the price of admission, for the price of the game, right? But then you get content, new free content updates, perpetually until they end of life the game, which if we're going on Diablo 3, will probably be like 10 years. You still get free content for the game because of people buying cosmetics, right? So there are pros and cons to it. It's not a black and white thing. It is for a lot of people because one argument weighs out on the other one disproportionately. But for me, I see both of them, and I'm kind of in favor of the way Blizzard is doing it right now because they're allowing the people who like the game enough to spend this amount of money to carry the people who don't have the money that still want to play. And that's fine for me. I'm all right with it. And in the terms of Diablo 4, I don't think that we got a gimped level of content. I think that for any live service game, it's going to start off with being kind of light on the end game, the high level end game stuff, and they've added stuff in for free for everybody to flesh that out a little bit more. So yeah, it's a nuanced argument. In the case of Creation Club, I only bought it when I knew it was complete, so I wasn't just spending money all the time. Had to get the small item. Yeah, I kind of did the same thing. Was it Star Wars Battlefront that locked premium characters behind a paywall? It was Battlefront 2, I think, and they took a lot of shit for that. And yeah, that's the wrong way to do it. That is the wrong way to do it. You also have the loot box approach, which is what Overwatch took. And I don't like that either. I don't like having like a random chance of getting the character that I want or the skin that I want, right? That just encourages people not only to spend money on getting more loot boxes, but also to gamble with real money for in-game items. And that's pretty crappy. And I don't think any game developer should be doing that. Okay. Well, let's do some pit pushes here. Just to show off my shadow imbuement one. So this is a very similar build. It's not using the Smuggler's Kiss ring that turns my rapid fire shots into grenade lobs. These are just going to be regular old arrow or bolt shots. But mechanically, it's kind of working the same thing. I do the 3 combo points. I'm using my caltrops to kind of slow down folks coming at me. Ooh, my movement speed is much less than what I had on the... Sorry, I'm going to be quiet here because I got a lot of concentration to do here. I need to find some way to get faster movement speed here. There we go. Now it's loosening up a little bit. So yeah, we get a nice crunchy pop, a nice crunchy explosion whenever we kill an enemy with shadow imbuement. I don't have to worry about the lobs. The projectile speed is much quicker. Still got all the crowd control. I am giving up a little bit of strength by not using the Smuggler's Kiss ring for the grenade lobs. That does add damage to your attack. I'm also giving up some power. There's I think it's a Paragon node called Frozen Finesse that gives you added damage to basically enemies who are affected by a cold imbuement. And there are kind of similar things that increase the damage of your shadow imbuement as well. It's just not as strong for shadow as it is for cold. So the combination of the grenade launcher and the frost imbuement, the cold imbuement over the shadow imbuement, is a very powerful combination that last build leverages that this one does not. But this one is just more fun to play, in my opinion. The rapid fire shots just feel more responsive because they get to where they're going a lot faster and they don't sail over the enemy's head. Sometimes aiming can be a bit wonky with this game with a controller, which is what I'm using. I'm using an Xbox Elite controller. For this game, I just like the analog movement. Otherwise, you know, you're more precise with the mouse, but you're going to be using your mouse a lot. You'll be swinging that mouse all over your mouse pad because of the movement in this game. The character movement in this game with a mouse is kind of point and click or hold and move. And I'll show you what I mean in a minute. So it's not very intuitive. Like pro Diablo 4 players, they will use keyboard and mouse for the precision, but it's a very physically active way to play the game. It's more comfortable and just overall more fun for me to play with a controller. And like Cyberpunk and Starfield, you can kind of just... You can have the controller active and ready to go, but then just start moving the mouse in order to switch over to mouse control. So for things like filling out Paragon boards or like searching for skills or items in a large stash storage space, you can switch back to keyboard and mouse like seamlessly. But overall, even though it's less precise, some of the aiming is with the controller, they did do a good job tuning things to at least be fun and functional with the controller, because they are really going for the console and casual audience with this game. So they're leaning into the game feel and the fun factor more so than like a game like Path of Exile would. Oh my god, it's getting massacred over here. Tanky enemies that just stay alive forever are the ones killing me. And then these lightning balls, they're just tracking me with a damn laser beam. Here we go. We're loosening it up, making some leeway here. Here we go. Oh, yep. Those things are a pain in the ass. It's tracking laser turrets that just melt your life bar. Cheese and rice. Do you ever do a Heartseeker build? No. I like a build with a little bit of nuance. If you're just running around with a basic skill the whole time, it's not exactly fun, even though I could push the pit a lot farther with a Heartseeker build. That is like S+ tier right now. I've seen people do like, you know, 150 tier plus clears with just that Heartseeker build. And then people who aren't aware, Heartseeker is just this basic attack, this one shot that I'm doing here. The Heartseeker build is completely based around this one little single shot basic attack. And it gets insanely powerful, just that one little shot, once you start looking into the different effects that you can spread through that shot that bounces around like different enemies in a group. It's insanely powerful. I have mine more tuned around rapid fire because I think it's just a very cool and fun skill to use. Like I said, I love having a machine gun in Diablo IV. And this way of playing really emphasizes mobility and evasion. And I like arcade shoot 'em up games. And this kind of feels like an arcade shoot 'em up game at points. Having to navigate like this bullet hell environment of a ton of different enemies and projectiles everywhere. More like a Euro shmup than a Japanese shmup. So people who don't know about the arcade shooting game nomenclature, shoot 'em up is sort of like a... Okay, so that's the arcade shooter. A shoot 'em up is evolved from games like Galaga, Space Invaders, Centipede, where you have like a spaceship or a character and you have like waves of enemies that come at you, and your job is to shoot them with your like a little laser gun or whatever. Those have evolved into these really complex games that have bullets and enemies all over the place called bullet hells. And they really test your reflexes, your memorization skills, precision on your control input device of choice. And then the word shoot 'em up has been combined into a sort of portmanteau, shortened into the word shmup. So when I say shmup, I'm talking about arcade shoot 'em up games. And bullet hell is a subgenre of shmups, where it's the bullets are kind of slower moving so that you can react to them a little bit more, but then the bullet patterns are very dense, very complicated in terms of their like movement. So it does take some exposure to the different patterns in order to find like and path your way through those in order to practice. And this game with certain builds, it's kind of the same way. You can build your character just to be a tank, and then you can take care of most of the game's content like that just by like getting up into your enemy's face and just, you know, absorbing just a lot of damage because you have the health and the armor and the damage reduction to be able to do that. To me, that's a little, you know, less fun. I'm all about fun and finding fun through like nuances in the game. So this is kind of like my philosophy on Skyrim builds too. I'm not always trying to find the strongest build, because Skyrim, in my opinion, just isn't that kind of game. You get overpowered really easily in that game. So like just finding a character that is stronger than another character is a little less impressive, because you're going to clear everything you need to clear in that game with a lot of different builds. So what I do with Skyrim, and what I try to do in this game too, is I will find one synergistic kind of combination of skills or spells or attributes. And if it's really cool, or if it's really fun, and if it's a little bit nuanced and kind of like unique, not a lot of people are playing that way, okay, that's what I'm going to center my build on. And then the challenge becomes how to take that nuanced synergy, that one specific combination of skills, and make it viable for the hardest, highest levels of the game. And that's where my Skyrim builds come from. And I kind of take the same philosophy with this game too. But the buildcraft in this game, the character buildcraft in this game is so much more complicated than it is in Skyrim, that you kind of have to know the most powerful builds in order to leverage that information to make your own unique, nuanced builds, your custom builds, viable at endgame to do all the content that you want to do with it. So that's why I've been following a guide for that last build. That's why I've went the meta route with him, so I could kind of figure out what makes that build tick, and then I can apply it to this one, which is my sort of bespoke rapid fire shadow build. It's not quite as strong, but it's still, you know, this level 61. We're not clearing it quite as fast. We're a few minutes behind, but we're gonna get that boss portal here any second. There it is. And now I have like 2.5 minutes to kill this boss. This build is quite good at single target damage, so we should be okay here. Already stunned him. Now we're gonna do a lot more damage to the stunned enemy. Get out of that blast radius. Try to stun the boss again here. Yep, there he is. Boom. So yeah, it took a couple minutes longer than it did with the sort of overpowered meta build of the same type. But I can still do it, right? Still good. The nice part is it doesn't need power to keep going. Yes, the Heartseeker with any basic skills. So there was a Druid Wind Shear, which is a projectile-based basic skill for the Druid. That was like I think that Druid pushed the pit levels further than any other Druid build, if I remember correctly. And that was another basic skill build. And then the Barbarian Bash build, which is another basic skill build, was also extremely powerful. Yeah, these basic skill builds in this game are extremely powerful, but they're also very kind of basic to play. You do have kind of some skills around that basic skill in order to empower them further. But for the most part, you're just hitting one button, running around and hitting one button, and that to me is just not as fun. I don't know. Had my first double KO in the pit the other day. Didn't know that could happen. I think I just came a pixel short when I was fighting the last character with the Smuggler's Kiss rapid fire build. He had 1 pixel left, and I died to 1 hit with that guy. Came 1 pixel to a double KO. I didn't know it could happen either. Does it do like a special thing, like a little animation or a little text or anything? Is there anything special, or does it just make you start over on the boss fight? I'm genuinely curious. That's awesome. Okay, so that's this character. We got some more Neath Iron I can use to masterwork my build, or masterwork my equipment here. All that good stuff. All right. So let's go to another class here. So those are my rapid fire builds. This guy's kind of my main one. He's in the Eternal Realm. I'm going to keep him going. This is my original build, the first character that I've ever had in this game. I'm going to keep evolving him throughout the seasons. Someone called me? Haster? I don't think so. Not that I've seen. We've been saying Heartseeker, which might be close to Haster. I don't think we were calling you, but we're always glad you're here. It stalls out and then announces that you defeated the boss, so it gets into kind of like a weird glitchy state. That's funny. Okay, so this is probably my weakest concept out of all of them. This is the Chain Lightning build. Sorcerer can be very powerful. But this one, not so much. I was trying desperately to find a skill that I liked with the sorcerer, and the one that I liked the most was chain lightning. So I looked up a chain lightning build, and I've been kind of following that. I've got things tempered, been masterworking some of these. This one is nuanced. The issue that I have with this one is that he's strong, he's powerful enough, but it lacks that impact that I like. I've noticed about myself that I really like the explosion, the high impact skills and actions that you do in this game. And this guy just doesn't provide that. He's a lightning build, which you would think would be explosive, but it doesn't feel strong when you're playing it, even though it does tend to melt enemies. It's pretty good. This is probably so maxroll.com is the website that I use for most of my build guides on this game. They have the tier set for this guy at a C, which is the lowest tier character that I run right now. And even he is strong enough to get the Neath Iron in the pit, but it just doesn't feel as strong, you know? I don't know how many people here are into cars or that watch like Top Gear, or that used to watch Top Gear. They did a competition versus the Audi A4 and the BMW M3, and the Audi A4 completely beat out the M3 in every sort of observable. Wow, I'm doing like no damage on this guy. Every observable metric in terms of clear time, sprint speed, 0 to 60 times, things like that. But they all liked driving the M3 more because it felt stronger. It felt like it was going faster. All that good stuff. They all preferred the M3 over the A4, even though that it was slower around the track, slower in the 0 to 60s, slower on the straightaways. And that's kind of what I feel about this class too. So this character gets a lot of power from these little ball lightning that you pick up, these little, I don't remember what they call them, crackles. You pick up these little balls of lightning here and there. And then you kind of get like a static charge to you.
I lack the needed mana.
And that does actually a lot of supplemental damage. Resource management with this guy is a little tricky too. There's a rhythm that you do between your cooldowns and your chain lightning attack. And it takes a little bit to get into that rhythm. Actually, resourcefulness potions help a lot too. Keeping that topped up as much as possible. If I can find a resourcefulness potion. Do I even have one? May not have one. That sucks. Don't need attack speed. Maybe critical strike chance will be the best one here. So the rhythm that I'm using here is I'll do a cooldown and then 3 chain lightnings. I'll go cooldown, chain lightning, chain lightning, chain lightning, cooldown, chain lightning, chain lightning, chain lightning, and then I'll cycle through these cooldowns to give them all a chance to sort of recover. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's hit push is way too strong for this guy. These corpse bows, these corpse bows right here, they have extremely high one-shot damage. And if you don't have the defense to survive that, you're gonna have a long, yeah, that sucks. We need to go to a lower tit. A lower tit. We gotta get some lower tits on this one. Oh my god. Am I gonna make it out? Oh, they won't even let me escape. This is freaking terrible. Just let me out. Now I have to go repair all my gear. Every time you die in this game, you take durability hits to your gear, and then after you, I think it's like a 10% durability hit, and then so after you take 10 deaths, then your armor will break and become unusable. So you got to make sure that you're equipping your or repairing your armor every time you die. So let's go down to pit tier 30. We'll just cut it in half here. See if we can manage that. I'm pretty sure we can. Actually, let's just do some Ingolith. We need that anyway. It was A4 at the time, Magus. This was in the late 90s, early 2000s. It was the non-sport model Audi. It was the A4, not the S4, versus the M3. And a lot of that had to do with the four-wheel drive, so they're going to get more traction, which means better launch off the line and better speed around the corners without, you know, getting sideways. The M3 is a beast, but because it is a rear wheel drive front engine car, it's going to be a little nuanced around the corners, you know? You're a car guy, you know what I'm talking about. But because of that, it's also going to be a little more fun to drive. And welcome, Magus. Glad to see you, even though I'm not playing Skyrim. Skyrim will be back next week. I just had a busy week this week, and since the mage and the warrior are getting up there in level, progression is starting to slow down just a little bit, so I didn't really have anything new to show for either of those guys, and I'm kind of in the point right now where I'm, you know, doing a lot of crafting, doing a lot of selling of loot, buying spells, buying crafting materials, leveling enchanting, things like that. So it's not particularly exciting, and then the timing worked out well for this because the current season, the season 4 of Diablo here is ending up, so I kind of wanted to take the opportunity to put a little bow on the characters that I've been working on for this season before we head on to the next one. We'll be back with the warrior next week, I believe, and I'm actually getting the itch to get back in that playthrough. Okay, now we're finding that rhythm.
Out of mana.
So I'll go cool down, chain lightning, chain lightning, chain lightning, cool down, chain lightning, chain lightning, chain lightning. And the reason for that is every time I cast a cooldown, I get a barrier, a little added defense.
I lack the need.
And you've seen how squishy this guy is without the added defense. So I gotta make sure that I always have that barrier up. So I'm trying to time these cooldown activations at exactly the right time to always keep a barrier up without getting into a situation where I'm stuck with my pants down without a cooldown skill that I can activate. So yeah, the different cooldown skills that I have is this conjuration skill, which is just a floating ice swords that kind of follow around and attack on their own. We have the ice shield, the ice armor here. A lot of this stuff you're gonna find familiar because it's It's basically stuff from FMR. You can tell where FMR got the idea for a lot of these spells, and it's Diablo. This is kind of the progenitor of a lot of fantasy games with the different skills and equipment and stuff that you get. And then we have the Flame Shield, which actually, I think, makes you invulnerable for a certain amount of time. And then we also have this Teleport, which also buffs up the Crackle, which is when I... Concentrating too much on talking and not enough on actually playing here. When I pick up these balls of lightning here, and it statically charges me so that I automatically attack people around me. When I teleport, it actually strengthens that.
I need time.
Yeah, I got CC'd. I got frozen. I couldn't break out of it for whatever reason. But that's only one death. That's not going to hurt me that much. We'll get through this. Yeah, and I did used to mod Diablo back in the day, so that's a lot of spells that you find in Apocalypse and even a little bit in Triumvirate and Odin were just lifted directly from this game. And a lot of the enchantments actually in Summer Mist were lifted exactly from this game. And especially with the newer version of Summer Mist, I can see his thought process when I'm building my own character using those enchantments. Where he got the ideas for, like, his vision of how buildcraft should work in Skyrim is very much inspired by Diablo. Probably Diablo 2, because I think that was the game that he really modded heavily. Okay. I gotta really concentrate to get through this. I'm mistiming my cooldowns, like, heavily here. Alright, here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, just 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
I need time to prepare that.
Okay, there we go. When I focus on the timing, I can do it. It's just hard to keep a rhythm and talk at the same time. I am really white.
I lack the
Here we go. Okay, that's pretty intense. But you can see how, like, all these classes, they force you to play in vastly different ways. Like how this is very rhythm based.
Time to prepare that.
The pulverized druid was very just, you know, get up in close and Hulk smash. And then there was a lot of sort of tactics and strategy that you had to do once you ran out of the resource in order to cast that ground pound. And the rogue builds were squishy but had the mobility in order to get around. It was like defense through evasion. Whew, yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's intense. So this isn't kind of just a casual end of the day, just go brain dead and, you know, kill some monsters type thing. It can be at lower levels. There we go. Now we got our boss.
I'm out of mana.
Okay, we stunned him. Resourcefulness potions are very valuable for this build because they keep your mana regenerating all the time. There are ways to regenerate mana through your cooldowns with this, but it doesn't always keep up with the demand of, you know, constantly wanting to shoot off these chain lightning bolts all the time. This build also does not use a basic attack. We were talking about basic attack only builds and how powerful they can be. This build doesn't even use a basic attack. It uses other ways to regenerate magicka just a little bit faster. And also, just like I said, this is a very timing, rhythm-based build, and just not like outpacing the rhythm of what you can cast constantly. So yeah, this one does take a little more concentration than the rest of the builds, which is why I had to stop talking and stop looking at chat so much while I was playing this one. As you can see, it's viable for end game content, especially like when you upgrade your gear enough. And if you can find a solution for this resource generation, it's good. And then if you want like a skill-based, like kind of rhythm-based build that you can get good at, this one actually is pretty good. Like I said, the drawback to this one is that it doesn't have those crunchy, impactful explosions that all the other builds do that I like. You want a little bow? Yeah, thanks for posting Magus's Twitch channel in there. You're on it, Haster. Appreciate it. Oculus is a great item if you want a teleport attack build. I'll have to look into that one. Oculus, huh? And that is a Season 4 item? Because they did add a lot of new uniques to Season 5. That's in the PTR right now, so that's being tested. That's not ready for mass production quite yet. Okay. So let's see here. That is the Chain Lightning Sorcerer. This is, I don't know. I'm least impressed by this build as compared to the other ones. Its power levels are fine. I'm sure I'll be able to clear level 60 pit tiers soon enough. Just I need to increase my gear a little bit better. But This next one I've really fallen in love with. And as you can see, this is my newest one because I haven't quite reached level 100 with him yet. But this is my barbarian builds. And this season, and last season as well, actually, and the season coming up, barbarians are king. They are the strongest in the game, a little bit debatably. Rogues have had their time in the sun. Necromancers had a little bit of a flash in the pan for a little bit. But barbarians are getting a lot of love lately. And that is because they have a lot more equipment slots than any other class. They have this walking arsenal theme to them, where they're able to have like one of each weapon type, a melee weapon type anyway. You get a bludgeoning two-handed weapon, a slashing two-handed weapon, and then two one-handed weapons. Bludgeoning two-handed weapon, a slashing two-handed weapon, and two one-handed weapons that you can have on you at all times. So once you start getting into legendary and unique items that have these powerful aspects on them, you can see why the barbarian is much stronger in end game, because they have a lot more equipment slots. They have a lot more enchantment effects that they can apply to their gameplay. But beyond just the strength levels of this, this is also, it has been around most of season 4. Oculus. Cool. I'll have to look into that. It might be more fun to play than what I'm currently using. But yeah, so this, what I've done with this one is the double swing twister. This is not spin to win, where you there's the whirlwind attack where you take like your two-handed weapon and then you spin around in circles, making everybody dizzy. This is a double swing attack where you take each of your one-handed weapons and then kind of do like a big scissor attack with them both ways. And each time you do that, you generate these dust devils that are extremely powerful. This also incorporates some shouting, some auto shouts, which keeps our fury levels up. So resource generation is not a problem with this build, and also leap quaking. So you're leaping around, stomping on people, causing earthquakes wherever you land. That generates fury. You're able to charge, like ram through people. There's a lot of unstoppable in this build. So yeah, let's, I'm not really sure. I think tier 31 is doable. Let's see if we can get Ingolith with this build. Our equipment levels on this, I have not masterworked them up very high. And as you can see, this is only a level 98 build as opposed to level 100. But this is quickly becoming one of my favorites. It incorporates a lot of different aspects that are very fun. And you can already see that this guy, even with lower level equipment and a lower level, is way stronger than the sorcerer was at this same level of pit tier. This is the same level enemies that we were fighting with the sorcerer, with that chain lightning sorcerer. But there's so much more impact to it, right? There's explosions, there's yelling, he's going the whole time. He's slamming into the ground, he's running through people. He's chopping through people easily. Since he's lower level and he doesn't have his gear leveled up all the way, I am burning through health potions a little more quickly than I would like. He is punching above his weight a little bit with this pit tier, but as you can tell, it's all still like doable.
Not ready yet.
We are just absolutely tearing. If you wanted the Doom Guy build, this rip and tear build, this is what you're looking for. Put on some heavy metal music and just start tearing through people. Yeah, this is my kind of build, guys. This is good stuff. So there's a lot going on here. I've tempered my equipment to vastly fortify these dust devils that get generated. Oh, I took a hit just because we're under leveled. These dust devils that get generated whenever I do certain things, these are very strong. They do a lot of damage at a distance, wherever else. The Berserker, or I'm sorry, the Barbarian also has this state that you get into called Berserking. And you can see the blue flames around me. And there are ways that you can spec your build to enter that Berserking state a lot more easily, and then also do a ton more damage while you're in that Berserking state. Oh my goodness. I just died within a second. I was trying to leap out of there. I'm pretty sure maybe my leap was on cooldown or something, but I should have been able to leap out of there easily enough. Maybe it was just input latency from this being an online game. Oh, also, I don't have my resistances set up all the way yet. I don't have my armor capped out, and I don't have my resistances set up. I'll show you that later, once I have a second to do that. We're running on, this is an extremely unoptimized build. There's a lot more work that needs to go into this in order to get it to the same levels of actually optimization as the other builds that I've showed off. But even without that optimization, we're still cutting through these enemies much more efficiently than we were with the Sorcerer anyway. Okay, yeah, we got the boss portal now. So yeah, the actually our resistances are pretty good. It wasn't the resistances. I've been working on resistances a lot lately. Yeah, resistances are fine. They cap out at 70. I don't know what was killing me so fast. Oh yeah, our armor is very low though. If you look at our armor rating right here, the armor rating caps at like 9,700. And I'm far below that. I'll have to re-enchant my gear to add some armor, and also masterworking will help with that too. That's right. Cannot match my fury. Yeah, this one's quickly becoming one of, if not my favorite. That rapid fire shadow imbuement build, he's still my favorite because he was the original. I really like the play style. But this one is just, it's so momentum based. Once you get going, you can charge from these enemy groups and then leap to the next enemy group and just keep like the carnage going like as fast as, man, I really need to lean into the carnage aspect with my channel browsing or channel branding.
I forge more than horseshoes and nails. What do you need?
Forge more than horseshoes and nails.
Keep my forge hot. Return soon.
Okay, let's do another pit here. Let's see if we can get more comfortable in tier 31 without maybe dying so much. So all of these characters, the 4 of them that I have in the seasonal realm right now, they all share resources. So that is the pulverized werebear druid, this guy. Oops. Let me get rid of this. There's always just an initial wave when you go into these tiers that there are a couple elite enemies that just really try to ambush you right away. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so each one of these characters, except for the Shadow Imbuement rogue, they share resources for upgrading your equipment. So I kind of have to. They all, whenever I clear one of these pit runs, they all give me like one of the, or not one of, but like a certain amount of crafting materials that I need in order to increase the high level weapons that I'm running here, weapons and armor, and increase the power, the effectiveness of the enchantments and the affixes and the effects on those. That goes into a shared pool with all of the different characters in each realm. So I have to kind of pick and choose which character I'm using those materials on. Like, do I want to push higher with the pulverized druid werebear? Try to get to tier level 100. That's going to take a lot of resources though, because he has the highest level gear out of anybody. Or do I focus them on like the ones that need the most help, like the sorcerer? Or do I focus those materials on the ones that I like the most and I'm having the most fun with, like the barbarian here? So that's kind of the economy of time and resources that go along with these different characters, trying to balance multiples. And really, the only reason I'm running multiple characters in this season is because of the uber unique that it'll give you when you clear the seasonal favor quests. They give you crafting materials for an uber unique, and when you get 4 of those, you get to craft an uber unique of your own. So I had to craft 4 different, or I had to do 4 different character builds in order to run through that favor quest line in order to get that super powerful helm that I was rocking on my hold and view rapid fire rogue earlier. It just completely slaughtered that tier 60 boss like it was nothing. This build also does have sort of a cooldown cadence to it. You want to make sure you're using all your cooldowns, getting the most use out of all of them, just like kind of the sorcerer did. So it does take a little more concentration. There are a little more facets to playing this build than there are to either playing the rapid fire rogue or the pulverized druid, which is super simple. Oh, I love that leap. I just love sailing through the air and come crashing down on like a group of enemies. One of my favorite things in this game. So there is also some really fun synergy with between the shout and then the boots that I'm wearing. I'm wearing a unique pair of boots that will automatically proc a skill that you have on cooldown. And there are some stipulations to which kind of skills those are, but with shouts, it works really well. Oops. Meant to let go of the stick before I did that. Okay. Get that leap back soon enough. There we go. No problem. No deaths that time. Just concentrate a little bit more on it. Get some more crafting materials for it. Yeah, Magus, I don't know if you're familiar, but that Fallout London is kind of a big deal right now. It's basically the oh, what's that one for Skyrim? Starts with an E. It's a complete mod overhaul. It's a complete new game from the Skyrim engine. Enderall. It's basically the Enderall of Fallout. Yeah, heard Enderall. Yeah, it's good stuff. So a lot of people are excited about it. That's why James is all jazzed up All right, so I am going to do a poll in chat. Let's see, can I do a poll? I might have to switch over to this other one here. We have about 40 minutes left in the stream. I'm going to do a poll to see which build everybody likes best. Oh, chat times. How do I do this poll here? Yeah, here we go. And then we'll spend the rest of the time in the stream doing that build. Let's see, the first one was Druid. Next one was Cold Rapid Fire. Shadow Rapid Fire. Actually, we'll take the cold out of there because he's basically the Shadow Rapid Fire. I just don't like him as much. So Shadow Rapid Fire, the Barbarian, or the Sorcerer. It only gives me 4 options here, so I had to leave out the cold view. So vote on the one that you want to see me play for the rest of the stream. Do one more pit push with the Barbarian while that poll goes. So in terms of how I think I could do a Skyrim type build with this. The Whirlwind spell, is that a spell? I think that's a spell, right? Or is it a shout? There's the Whirlwind Cloak that you can shout, which kind of would send out these Dust Devils, but I think that there's a Whirlwind spell that you can do in Apocalypse as well, if I'm not mistaken. I could probably add that to like a Spell Scribe type thing. That would be really cool. And then with the Orcish Imperious racial ability that you unlock with Orcs, you get the Leap Quake. Yeah, see, I'm trying to think of too many things at once now. You can get that Leap Quake thing going, where you do the jump and slam. So that's easy enough. I'm actually looking forward to my Barbarian build at some point. I think that with my Barbarian Skyrim build, we'll take a lot of inspiration from this one.
I'm not ready.
So there are a lot of just lift and shifts that I could do from this build over to Skyrim, I think. And that would be fun as hell to play something like this. The Berserking ability could be like that Orcish Blood Rage ability. I can tie that to Voice of Rage and Ruin in the two-handed skill tree, so that that procs off kind of automatically at certain points. It's doing massive more damage. Whirlwind Sprint is a shout. There's a Twister spell in Apocalypse. Okay, and it is a Frost spell. Interesting. Yeah, that should be fine. I think Arcanum also has something called Icy Vortex. I got crowd controlled. God damn it. Icy Vortex. You can tell when I'm concentrating and when I'm not. That last pit push that I did was this exact same difficulty level, this exact same tier, and I went through it without dying once, and now I've died twice because I'm trying to come up with build concepts at the same time as playing. This takes a lot of concentration to be able to do these pit pushes, I swear. What is just eating my life, though? It's got to be these electric balls that are just surrounding me. Oh yeah, these guys are taking chunks out of my life. Even when I'm fortified, that's crazy. Okay, there we go. We're getting through it. So with the leap, when I land, it creates an earthquake that does do extra damage. But there's a little bit more going on with that thing too. If I'm standing in the earthquake, I'm doing a lot more extra damage. Also, the more enemies that I can hit at the same time with that leap quake, the faster that cooldown is gonna expire so that I can cast it again. I thought that the leap gave me unstoppable as well, but I've been crowd controlled a few times now. And then the leap wouldn't get me out of it. So maybe it's not unstoppable, but it does enable a lot of mobility, evasiveness, but also just sheer damage as well. Okay, so there, now that I concentrated, it was actually much more easier. I do want to go through and just make sure I repair my equipment after dying a couple times there, so I don't forget about it. End up getting useless armor because of it. Okay, let's see where the pull ended up here. Yeah, so these are all the different characters. They all look cool as hell. This is the druid. Turns into a werebear, slams the ground, just pulverizes enemies. He is right now by far the strongest one that I have. Not necessarily the one with the highest potential, but definitely the strongest one. I'm pushing the highest level tiers in the pit with this one. This one so far is my favorite. This is my original concept build, the shadow imbued rapid fire archer, highly mobile, machine gun fires his crossbow, it imbues his bolts with shadow magic to make enemies explode. A lot of fun. This guy's very close to the same thing, except that instead of a shadow imbued machine gun crossbow, he's actually got a rapid fire grenade launcher that has cold imbue. Still highly mobile, lots of single target damage. We have the chain lightning sorcerer, which lacks some impact, but he does tear through crowds of enemies pretty efficiently once you get the rhythm going. And then we have the brute barbarian, just jumping around, slamming the ground, charging through enemies, and causing twisters all over the place. Okay, let's see what we got here with the... Can I pop this out? I'm gonna end the poll here. Oh no, we have a tie between the 50% on the shadow rapid fire and 50% on the sorcerer. Weird. We only had 2 votes though. Man, you guys are slacking off. Did anybody not vote that wants to be a tiebreaker between the shadow rapid fire and the sorcerer? Magus already voted. Okay. Give it another few seconds for that to pop up. Okay, so my tiebreaker, I think, will go for the shadow rapid fire. This is the one that I'm more comfortable with. I should be the tiebreaker. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm going for right now. This one, I am more comfortable with the playstyle. It takes a little less concentration for me, so I can talk to you guys while I play. The sorcerer takes a lot of concentration for me. I really have to focus on the rhythm of those cooldowns and things like that. Oh, so I see why there wasn't a lot of people voting. I only have 3 viewers. So the 2 people who are actually watching me did vote. That's awesome. That explains it. That'll teach me for diverting off of the Skyrim train here, huh? I've been averaging like, 16 to 19 viewers per week, and then all of a sudden switched to Diablo, and now I got 2 or 3. It's okay. I just gotta laugh at it. Okay. What are we doing with this build here? I think we just gotta do pit pushes. Maybe I'll show off some of the other things that this game has going on. So this is a Hell Tide. This is what the developers have been pushing you to do for leveling and itemization. So the pit tiers that I've been doing, those pit runs, at least I have moderation. Yeah, 100% of the people in my streams right now are just moderators. That's fine. Yeah, that's cool. I don't mind hanging out with a smaller group. Yeah, like I said, though, we're back to the warrior in Skyrim tomorrow. So this is called a Hell Tide. This is basically you run around in the open world here, but there are a lot more enemies that you face. They are elevated levels. This is a good way to get a lot of experience really fast. You also get things like crafting materials, like these gem fragments. You can do things called the Tree of Whispers, which gives you bounties to complete. And then when you complete those bounties, you get a boss chest full of high-level equipment. A lot of money you get in those, a lot of crafting materials you get in them. So if you are leveling your character or looking for end game gear, this is kind of the thing that you want to do. So you're going through and you're killing these amplified enemies. And you're getting these abhorrent cinders. Or barren cinders. These glowing little lava drip looking things. And when you get a certain amount of those, yeah, you can see that the shadow imbuement just tears through groups of enemies when you can get them all lined up together. Once you get a certain amount of these cinders, you get to unlock these screaming chests. And these screaming chests have a bunch of gold, a bunch of high-level equipment in them as well. But they also give you a lot of experience. So for this one, I need 75 cinders. I only have 43. And this one is actually a pants chest, which is going to make Magus very angry because he's all about the no pants situation. But for us, the pants slot is an important enchantment slot that we need to make room for, that we need to utilize for sure. You also have these sort of one-off events that'll give you a lot of cinders, a lot of experience, things like that. Unsub, there you go. Pants, what is this pants situation? Did you say pants chest? It's a chest full of pants. How bad would that piss you off? You're playing Skyrim and you finally find this massive boss chest and it's just full of pants. Sounds like a Magus nightmare. It's a custom-made Magus nightmare. Yeah, and as you can tell, that the enemy density is a lot higher, but the enemy level is a lot lower. I'm pretty much just brainlessly killing all these guys without an issue. They're not doing a ton of damage to me. If I get caught in a bad spot, yeah, they could kill me. That was anticlimactic. Yeah, the yellow items I'm not going to bother picking up. I'm looking for orange and gold. So uniques and legendaries. The yellow ones are pretty much completely worthless at this point. So this shadow imbued arcane archer in Skyrim is something that I've been kicking around in my head for a while too. I think once I get through the Guardians, that'll be the first one that I pick up that's not a basic level or a basic kind of class build. So what I've been kind of thinking with this is trying to do the triumvirate stuff. Trying to incorporate Ozra's Wrath, which is that shadow explosion from Triumvirate. I always want to put an end in there, an N in there for some reason. And then I can hook up to Lion's Arrow, the shadow, that kind of shadow shot skill, and the whole kind of combination of the build. The main combination is going to be trying to build up my mana pools as much as possible to strengthen up Ozra's Wrath. And then when my mana pool is full, switch to Ozra's Wrath and just start blasting enemies with that. And then when that depletes my mana pool, that becomes weaker because the damage of that spell scales with your current mana, your magicka levels. So then I'll switch back to the bow, and then Lion's Arrow has that sort of shadow shot hooked up to it, which absorbs both health and magicka from enemies that it hits. So that will start regenning my magicka faster in order to enable the next Ozra's Wrath. I will also be hooking up Shadow Dance, which is where you jump and you get that super fast dash to Okado's Recital. Also hooked up to Okado's Recital will be the Spell Shot Repeater from Arcanum, which will give me that rapid fire effect. And also give me some more damage with my regular attacks with some illusion magic scaling. And then maybe some rune spells or something. I don't know, to act as these caltrops. Maybe like a cold imbued or a cold frost rune that can slow enemies. This spell right here, or the skill that I have. It's almost like a frost rune a little bit, where you cast it on the ground and enemies get hit with it and slowed. The trick is going to be how to fit all this stuff into a level 50 build with only 50 perks, right? Been watching the stream on your Roku? Awesome. I use a Roku for streaming too. And welcome aboard, P. Miller. You've been here since the beginning of the stream? No problem, buddy. Yeah, Roku is what I use for my streaming device too. It just works better than whatever's built into the smart TV. It gives you one more thing that you have to plug into your TV, but in my opinion, it's worth it. The other way that I could see this going is leaning into FMR, like the Mystic spells. So something like Discord I could hook up to Lion's Arrow, and that does give you some explosive splash damage as well. It's not technically shadow imbued, but it kind of fits the same aesthetic a little bit. And it does give you that explosive blast with each shot. It'll also frenzy enemies under a certain level, which is nice. but the damage is harder to scale with that than it is with a destruction spell. I don't know. I might be able to figure out a way to make that stronger, more viable. Or it could do something like Void Bolt or something in there too. I kind of want to do just a full FMR build on that too. Just so that I can get more comfortable with what FMR provides. And I know PC Outcast did a series on that too, so I'll watch those FMR builds that he did for inspiration as well. But I kind of want to do my own builds. There is some overlap between what I've done and what PC Outcast has done, and even Belisarius, but I think we all bring enough of a unique perspective to these builds that there's enough nuance between them that we can all occupy the same space and bring something worth everybody watching to the table, right? PC Outcast did his partnership with Belisarius a few years back, where they were reviving the Oblivion classes, which is what I've been doing for a while too. PC Outcast did his in Ordinator. Belisarius did his in Valkyrie. So that was kind of a fun compare and contrast between the two. I bring a different kind of presentation to the whole thing. I kind of deep dive a little bit more into synergy. I present the whole thing a little bit differently. Really walk through it step by step in a way that neither of those guys kind of do. They're kind of more just like, we'll play through it and then we'll do the overview. So I think in terms of offering like a full build guide, that's kind of where my niche is on those. And just identifying some synergies that neither of them has seen or have explored yet or presented in their own builds. Okay, so this doesn't take as much concentration. This isn't as dire life and death as those pit runs are. So what's up, everybody? What are you guys doing for your weekend? Got any cool plans or anything? My wife is dragging me to an engagement party for one of her coworkers today. So FML there, but you know, it should be fine. I don't think we have to stay very long. And then, as a reward after that, she's taking me clothes shopping. So yeah, that's what I'm doing with my Saturday. Probably go out and get some good food out of it anyway. And then I got to, since my dog has been diagnosed with kidney disease, sadly, we have to, she's been okay. She's taken to the diet pretty well. And the symptoms have been very minor lately after switching up her diet. But that means that I do have to kind of make homemade food for her every week with the right amount of protein and carbs and stuff in it. So I am making a big batch of that tonight as well. She is out of that food. And then tomorrow I got yard work. More Olympics? Yeah, I want to watch more Olympics too. Like I said, my wife and I were watching fencing earlier. And it's very impressive. But like I was saying with the Olympic stuff, it's like these people are doing superhuman feats. Oh, we got a Hellborn over here. Yeah, sorry. That guy got stomped. Those guys are supposed to be like the sort of ultimate challenge in these Hell Tides. You saw what I just did with my custom build here. my not even strongest rapid fire build. Yeah, so I want to watch more Olympics. Like I was saying earlier, though, those Olympics, you see superhuman feats on such a regular basis that it's like it gets to be mundane. Especially when you see people just, you know, running as fast as they can for an hour or jumping as high as they can for an hour. There is some more showmanship and pageantry and like the acrobatics, the gymnastics stuff, which is why more people flock to that. I kind of wish that things like the karate, the taekwondo, the wrestling, and judo got a little more play, because that is like just a straight up combat sport. It's more points based, but you actually get to see two people pitted against each other in like one-on-one competition. It's a little more pure form. The scoring systems can be a little cumbersome to get around if you don't know like how the points are. You could see like some guy that looks like he's winning, but points wise he's actually losing. Sometimes it's more obvious, but yeah, I kind of wish those got more play, more airtime, because that is very impressive stuff, just in terms of the movements that they're making, but also like in terms of like strategy and the chess match that goes on in real time. Boxing does tend to get a little more play. I feel like Olympic medalist boxers do get a little bit more renown than like the judo and the wrestlers do. Now, if you watch pro wrestling, a lot of those guys were actual like amateur college Olympic level wrestlers. It's just that, you know, the competition aspect goes out the window once you start scripting things. But all the athletic ability is there for a lot of those guys, for sure. Enough so that a lot of those guys have transitioned, made very successful transitions to mixed martial arts. Same with judo's guys, and even a few karate guys have made the jump to MMA successfully as well. Oh man, I just got super hungry, guys. It must be getting to the end of stream time here. But no, in terms of Skyrim builds here, this one is tricky just because we don't have any like one-to-one representation of exactly what this guy is doing in Skyrim with the mods that I'm running. The Barbarian is a little more one-to-one, I think. That would be a really fun build to play in Skyrim, I think. Almost exactly how that Barbarian was playing. The last character that I played. I think I could lift and shift him almost verbatim into Skyrim without too much issue, and that would be really fun. Great Britain team for the Olympic. They're sleeping Odd Air Con plus personal chief and party nightclub. More DJs entertainment. Sorry, James. I'm kind of having trouble picking up what you're putting down there. Yeah, so I'm super duper hungry right now. I still got another 9 minutes left in the stream, but I kind of want to just eat. So thanks for joining me, the people who did. This is another little departure from Skyrim, and we'll be back with Skyrim next week. I needed to take a little break for various reasons, not least of which that I just didn't have any progress to show. I didn't want to just be doing crafting menus all day for the stream. So either crafting menus or like looking on the Nexus page for different like synergies and enchantments that I could use in different scenarios. So thanks for joining me nonetheless. This was fun for me, just to kind of show off the work that I've done on these characters and kind of show off share my process or my progress with my thought process. Geez, I'm just losing my words today. Kind of a busy week. I'm so exhausted. Sharing my thought process on how these could inform some Skyrim builds later on that are nuanced and unique and kind of fun and don't like really fit a certain class. So I'm looking forward to that once I get through the more base level Guardians classes, which still have a lot of juice left in them as well. But yeah, I think that's it for me. If you're, well, there's not really any one-to-ones. I don't think there's anybody here that streams Diablo except for maybe Maldaroth, and he wasn't really here today. Yeah, do check out the links in the description below. Magus80 streams a lot of Skyrim. He's working on his next setup. I think he's going Requiem for this one. Sleep pods. Okay, I see. Parties at nightclubs. Yeah, so that's the other thing about the Olympics. It's kind of just a big nightclub kind of sex fest going on there all the time. Yeah, just all those young athletes just together in those living quarters all together, kind of co-ed situation going on. I've heard some explicit stories about what's going on over there. Kind of makes you jealous, doesn't it? All right, so then there's The Wind also, who has been more of a variety streamer as of late, streaming all kinds of different games. A lot of Fallout, 7 Days to Die. She's played some Phasmophobia, things like that. Does mainly do Skyrim back in the past, but she's been kind of taking a little bit of a hiatus for that. No big deal. She's still a top-notch streamer, in my opinion. I like to catch her streams whenever I can. Anybody else that was here earlier? No, I don't think so. Unsurprisingly, they all have incredible yes, they do. All right, so that's it for me, guys. I'm gonna go watch some more Olympics for various reasons now. Yeah, that's it for me, guys. I'm gonna eat something, watch some Olympics, and then go do my husbandly duties with the social obligations and things like that. Thanks so much, guys. I'll see you around and see you next time. Until then, take care. Bye.